Hello and welcome to another episode of Ethnobotany. In this episode we'll cover the history of herbal baths, their medical uses in various historical and cultural contexts. Let's get started. During the Middle Ages, in various nations of both Mediterranean and Near East areas, baths made with herbal oils were used extensively for medical purposes. This practice likely began in ancient Egypt and Babylon, and was further developed by Greek scholars and practitioners, and from there spread throughout Southern Europe and the Near East, and from there later influenced Western Europe. In modern times, herbal baths, although no longer as highly valued, are still used to dilate the blood vessels and slow down the heart rate. The earliest known writings about this practice comes from the ancient Indian writings called the Vedas, which date back to 1500 BCE. It was also known that various famous individuals also used herbal baths. For instance, Cleopatra used rose water for bathing purposes, and Egyptian perfumes and ointments would be made from cinnamon, peppermint, white lily, sweet marjoram, Indian frankincense, and almond oil, or other oils derived from castor bean, olive oil, and sesame oil. The Greek physician Hippocrates learned about the healing properties of aromatic baths from the ancient Egyptians, and from there developed hydropathy, later known as hydrotherapy. This was then adopted by Roman physicians, who spread it throughout the Mediterranean, and the bathhouses of ancient Rome became famous due to these various types of ointments. Physicians such as Dioscorides and Galen recommended the use of herbal baths for bladder problems and genital disorders, as well as tumors, wounds, colds, bad mood, and fatigue. Galen used his famous Hadrian bath to treat fever. Based on Greek historians, Central, Northern, and Western Europe also used primitive herbal baths. For instance, Herodotus mentioned that Scythians, a nomadic tribe in the Ukraine, used cannabis vapor baths to medicate themselves. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the Dark Ages began, and for a time until the Renaissance, herbal baths were nearly extinct, with only the Finnish, Russian, and Scandinavian people continuing that tradition. The Russians used birch leaves, the Finnish people used saunas, with smaller amounts of herbs. In the Byzantine Empire, Middle East, and Central Asia, bathing culture survived and continued to develop, and from the 7th century onwards, Islamic physicians, such as Avicenna, continued to use herbal baths. One treatment for colic was, for instance, bathing in dill-scented water. For treating urine infections, bathing in a bath with bay leaves was used. And through this process, the Middle East became essentially the birthplace for beauty salons and bathhouses. A thyme ointment, for instance, was applied for rheumatism. Henna and onion were used for herpes, and various other herbs were used for dyeing purposes. Plants that are often used for bathing purposes include grape leaves, chamomile, pomegranate, basil, anise, violet, almond oil, garlic, and barley. Now for the various herbal bath treatments used to treat different diseases. First, we'll cover the treatment for cancer of the uterus. This treatment was not used for curing the cancer because they recognized that they could not treat it with their current medicine. It was instead used as a pain relief treatment to ease a patient's passing. The Iranian doctor, Mansur bin Muhammad in ancient times, recommended the pain-killing bath of dill seed, chamomile flower, yellow sweet clover, mallow leaves, cabbage leaves, beetroot leaves, and flaxseed, which were all boiled together and added to the bathtub. The Islamic doctor Avicenna recommended the use of garlic baths to treat being unable to go to the washroom. To treat bladder and kidney stones, he recommended the use of a mixture of chasteberry, maidenhair fern, mugwort, rose petals, and other herbs combined together with barberry and Corlean cherries. Chaste was also recommended by Avicenna as a treatment for the pain caused by tumors. To treat uterine hemorrhage pains, peppermint was used. Now on to skin diseases and allergies. These ruminants were not used to treat allergies, but to relieve the itch caused by such allergies. In 1311 CE, Yusuf Koi, a physician in the Islamic world, recommended juniper baths to treat the itch caused by allergic reactions by boiling 50 juniper cones in 2 liters of water before adding to the bathtub. Another physician called Mumin recommended the use of pine needles to cure itch. In Azerbaijan, sorry for mispronouncing that name, baths were made using a 10% extraction of needles, branches, and pine cones to remove allergic reaction. For inflammation and irritation, the 18th century manuscript Tibanim recommended bathing in chamomile flowers to remove pimples. The way it worked was a handful of dried chamomile flowers were added to 1 liter of water, boiled, and then added to the bath. The 15th century author Mansour recommended the use of Zarafan juniper to treat rashes, inflammation, and itches on the skin. Interestingly enough, it was later discovered that this juniper species actually has the properties of stopping the growth of bacteria. Now on to the use of mugwort. Tibanim reported the antiseptic properties of mugwort, and it was used extensively to treat infectious diseases of the skin in bath form. It was used similarly in Bulgarian folk medicine. The Tibanim book also described the antiseptic uses of oregano, the baths of which were used to treat inflammation as well as acne. The physician Mumin also described using pine needles to treat rashes and acne and skin inflammation. The pine he used was called the elder pine, which grows in the major Caucasus region. It was revealed that known pathogens such as E. coli, Streptococcus aureus, and several other microbes are damaged by this plant material. Now onto the historical uses for treating venomous stings and bites. The remedies for stings and venomous bites did not inactivate the poison itself, but did stop the inflammatory reactions. For scorpion stings, Ajowen was recommended by Avicenna to treat scorpion stings. It is still used today as folk medicine to treat scorpion stings to this day. Now on to the treatment of ulcers, tumors, and wounds. Cinnamon has been historically used in many Eastern countries to treat boils and abscesses. In Tibet, herbal baths made from white lily are used to treat ulcers and skin wounds. Similar results have been found in rat studies. In the Caucasus and Central Asia, white birch was often used to treat ulcers in bath form. In the Himalayan regions, Himalayan birch is used for the same reason. Calamus was recommended by Mumin for anti-inflammatory purposes. In modern-day Russia, alcoholic infusions of calamus are applied to festering wounds and ulcers as a treatment. Now on to the treatment of rheumatism. The Tibanim recommended that bathing in water infused with mustard could be used to treat rheumatism. Now on to the treatment of nervous and cardiovascular diseases via herbal baths in ancient times. In certain Middle Eastern folk medicines, in Azerbaijan, rosemary baths are recommended to people with low blood pressure. This also became popular in Britain as well. Now onto English lavender. Ancient Greek scholars such as Galen and Dioscorides, as well as their medieval successors, used herbal baths of lavender as an anti-spasmodic medicine and a treatment for rapid heart rate, as well as a treatment for migraines. Now on to sweet marjoram. Both Dioscorides and Avicenna consider this plant to be useful for treating diseases of the nerves. It was primarily used as a sedative in those times. Now on to our final herb, lemon balm. The Tibanim was used to treat excessive nervousness and irritability. It was also used historically to treat heart disease and to lower blood pressure. There seems to be some evidence that high blood pressure could be treated somewhat by lemon balm baths. Although I wouldn't recommend it myself, go see a doctor. Well, that covers everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to me on BitChute for a greater variety of content, 4 videos a week. And thank you to all my subscribers on both platforms. I appreciate it.